I just want to remind everybody, if they're going to come up and make a presentation, that they announce who they are and who they represent, if they're not the applicant. Also speak directly into one of the two microphones when you're giving us your presentation, so the minutes can be transcribed accurately. We're going to start with continuations tonight. They should be very, very brief. There's the new matters, and then we'll get to the historic district overlay demolition application. It shouldn't take very long, the whole evening. So we'll start with the first continuation, ARB 16-12, Bernardo Court, 3040 South Broadway, new construction. Didn't expect anything there. 16-84, 44 South Ferris Street, Bernard Defense. Once again, didn't expect anyone there, but the other continuation is ARB 16-96, 2 Sydney Lane, Fettner Edition.
Apologies, Mr. Waters, format. I couldn't get color, so I did the 11 by 17s a bit revised. Color, so you have it. Good evening.
I'm Stephen Bassini, the architect for Michael and Lori Fettner at 2 Cindy Lane. You'll be able to see it. I'm sure the audience can see as well. So we came to you last with this proposal for additions to the front of the house and a bump out to the rear of the house, in addition to pulling out the front entry here so it doesn't get lost. The entire house is being resided. We roofed the stone foundation around the perimeter. I know that we had gone through most of it before. The revisions that took place were requested was the front entry here. We looked at the roof entrance there, and I think that actually by taking your suggestion and putting a little a curve in that, actually it makes it a lighter feel, and also it pronounces the window over the doorway a little nicer. I didn't want to pull it down much lower than that because I did want to hang a lamp from there, and I think that their view, one of their big things was getting this window above here so that when they're up in that bi-level ranch second floor that they can see out to the front yard. So I didn't want to bring that any lower and have them have a view of the lamp. But I did bring that down a few feet, and it makes a much lighter feel. The railing detail in here, I submitted a photograph of that, the intention of it over there. It's simple, but it's still a little architectural, and the spindle elements are varying in heights as they come up to the second rail. The rear elevation, this bay window here, there was a comment that it felt a little cut short here. I had the elevation here at the previous one. It was cut short, so what we did is we brought it down to the level of the cantilever here, and the nice wood panel, white wood panel there. I still kept the same roof here. I had looked at other options to try and bring this up past this roof overhang or incorporated it. We really wanted that feel of that from one of those images I had shown you in the past, actually right on here, of a standing seam, and I think it makes a nicer detail, but I do agree that bringing it down here and completing it with the elevation makes sense. Oh, sure.
Well, continue. Why don't you just go through your...
Sure. Just the other change on the plan, not necessarily change, but an addition was the addition of the lighting. It's a simple fixture which you have a cut sheet for in there, and then obviously in the same style, the hanging pendant light over the elevation is about 21 inches, and these I think are about 16 inches. They're not gas or anything special, but I think they match nicely with the siding.
Appreciate you putting that on for us.
And also, of course, I submitted the existing elevations so that you could make the comparison. I think there was a question last time.
So it's still a bay window, but it just has the flat panel?
Building out the bottoms.
And is it the chamfered on the corners, the roof, or does it come flat out? Like the...
It comes flat. You can see here in the elevation, it comes flat out, and then it just chamfers with a curve on the edges here to round it out.
Okay.
It's only actually coming out about 9-10 inches. It's not a full 45-degree bay.
And you changed I think you had it before with the shingles up top. Did you change that?
Up here?
Yeah.
No, that was always shingles.
Okay.
I kept the shingles here as well. I mean, there's still examples of how this works with a panel and with some detailing. I didn't think that this elevation lent itself to a detail like that, some sort of etching or set-in, design. And I really wanted to carry through that second story of shakes.
Okay. Any questions?
You're showing a gutter come across that small roof piece that would turn off like a soffit across that cross gable. There actually wouldn't be a gutter on that roof piece, right?
Well, it does come out a portion here. There's going to be something small. I need to pick it. I'm not sure if you can see it from there. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's this,
I'm sorry.
it's this piece here. That looks like a gutter coming across that. You wouldn't have a gutter on that tiny little 10-inch little piece, would you?
I'd like to not have it on there, but I believe the building department would
Really?
agree. Only for its purpose of stormwater runoff, its erosion. If I can convince Mr. Marin not to put it on there, then I would not.
Why would you need it there?
Yeah, you would never, yeah, it's
Well, you imagine you'd never have any water hitting it because you have this overhang over here, but water doesn't run direct and straight down. I'd like to take it off.
You're already covered, right? You've got the coverage from your roof up above.
Technically, yes, if rain fell vertical all the time. I
no more
agree
runoff, the
with you.
runoff on the siding.
You're right.
Yeah, but it's weird to have the gutter come into the rake boards like that around on the corners.
I can terminate that. Come in about 2 feet, about a foot past the corner trim, and terminate it.
If it's not going to, violate anything from a building code.
I have to submit some revisions to Mr. Marin, and I'll ask at the time. But yeah, I will make that change. I agree. I don't rather not see the aluminum come across on both elevations. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think the improvements are a welcome addition. I appreciate you coming back, showing us the lighting. The only aspect to the design that doesn't seem to be changed, and I understand it wasn't going to be because it was your client's preference, is the windows, but I understand what
Thank you.
you
Yes.
proposed.
Okay. Gail, anything?
No, I agree.
Gentlemen,
Thank
anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thanks. You want to take this? You want to take anything? Yeah. And go on to new matters. ARB 17-01, 16 Station Road, Perez, exterior elevation changes.
Good evening, everyone. Thomas Lipinski, the contractor for S16 Station Road, representing Bruce Perez for this project. So this is ongoing kitchen renovation project that we decided to add the patio door. So we're thinking to use 5x7 400 series Anderson patio door with the traditional look, white frame, and basically it's a white cladding, aluminum cladding on the outside, trim to match existing. We have a couple of lights, and that's pretty much the scope of this submission.
Question for you, the dash line for a window on the right-hand side, what is that? What
Yes.
you're picking at?
There was part of the main kitchen project that we already have permitted and approved by ARB. We've been here.
So you're just,
So this-
essentially just adding the door?
Yeah, this is basically new permit and new submission.
Everybody comfortable with the door? Yep. Ladies? Okay. I don't have anything further. Motion to approve? Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Want to take that in case you need it?
Here you go. Going out the door. Okay, and the second new matter?
The other copies.
Second new matter is ARB 17-02, 33 Matheson Park, Esposito.
I don't really have anything to present except for what you already have there. It's just a gate going at the end of the road. 5-foot aluminum gate, precision built fence. Black. There you go. There's a picture in there somewhere.
Let's see a sketch, and then another sketch showing.
There's an actual picture, Rick.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
keep looking. So does this mean all guests will approach from Broadway?
No, it'll be electric. It'll open.
Oh, okay.
And there'll be room on the side to walk around it.
Where's
It's
the,
going on the existing pillars down there. We have too many people
I know.
trespassing
No,
on
I
the
know.
road, so we
Yeah.
just need to get into it.
And it looks like it's a 5-foot high.
It's 5 foot high, it's just black
Black,
aluminum. It's about
flat.
as simple as it gets.
and where's the machinery located?
It's in a post right next to it.
It's on the outside towards the,
It's in the existing posts, which is like right to the right. You're looking down the road just to the right. The electricity just goes to the building. We ran a conduit up to the Callahan's house, which is 23.
And how does it work for emergency vehicles?
Siren. It's siren operated, so the siren comes through, it goes. The fire department doesn't come in that way anyway, it's too narrow for them. Police department agrees with it because they don't want to deal with the hassle of me complaining all the time, so they're okay with it. I'll give all the police fobs, it's fob operated as well, so they'll have all fobs.
That's good.
it would have been helpful to have a drawing other than of the fence. So it's going between the posts or in front of the posts?
Between the posts. It's literally a 5 foot tall aluminum fence with no ornamentation whatsoever. And it's black. That's what my precision built fence is doing it, that's what they gave me, so.
And you said that we have car traffic coming in, and that's why you're...
Yeah, it's a private, it's not, it's a private driveway.
Right.
And we have people, it's a liability issue for us because I own the road, and then the problem is you have tons of kids who use it. My other option is just to put the chain up again and not let anyone go through ever, which is not really appropriate for us. So,
That doesn't make sense.
yeah. And there's one, the other Maston Road has a gate at the end of Continent. The Jaffrey just has a chain link fence going across the road. There's a whole bunch of, precedent set.
That's the thing, this is more attractive and probably for safety reasons is better.
What the problem really comes right now, especially winter, when we snowplow the road, which I just paid $100,000 to repave the road, right? That the town didn't pay for that. It gets tons of traffic. I pay for all the plowing. And God forbid a child who's walking down that road, which they all use as a cut through, which I'm not stopping, gets hit by a car.
You're not stopping because you're leaving the section open on the other
Yeah,
side.
section, the posts have been there forever. Just to the right of the post is a wide section to walk
Yeah.
through. People want to cut through to get to the aqueduct, we don't mind. People want to walk through, we don't mind. It's just the traffic. People use it as a cut through, especially in the morning,
Yeah.
fly down that road. It's not even like they just go down, they fly down it.
We see it as we come down Irvington High School Hill.
Yep, come flying across it. And you never know, you can't really see that well. It's not wide enough for 2 cars.
Right.
Well, they do it on North Metro where I live too. It's open again now for the winter. And it's amazing how,
All of a sudden, they just catch on.
Same
We shut
thing,
We
yeah.
shut it for 3 weeks with just a chain at the top, and that stopped it for a little bit, and now people are back. I even asked the person this morning, I said, do you know it's a private road? And she said, yes. And I asked her, so you drove on it anyway. And then she just shut her window and pulled away, like I was the wrong person.
All right.
So,
Any other?
it's really simple. There's nothing, ornate or crazy about it.
Well, I understand the need, I really do.
Maybe I didn't put out the picture.
None of these are the picture of where it's actually going.
Okay, it's on Broadway?
You can literally go out, no, you can tell it's over here.
Oh, it's that.
Literally
Okay.
go everything right, it's right there, yeah.
No, I got it. I'm just gonna look at it.
There was a gate there at some point a long time ago. The posts are rotted out. You can see it in there. We've used signage. I have no exit sign. I'm adding a new sign up top on Broadway that will say no throughway, private residence, what have you.
It's gonna cause more headaches than it's worth, having to come down to that point and see, oh, I can't get through.
No, it's gonna be up on Broadway. You'll see it up on Broadway, so they see it. You know, John Canning wrote, you know, just check to make sure there's enough room to turn around. There is. Yeah. And we're not, obviously, I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna look ugly. Eileen Fisher would kill me.
At the very least. Okay, any other questions from the board?
Everybody in the neighborhood's agreed on the design?
Yeah, we've all chipped in. They haven't chipped in yet. I'm waiting until the final movement, but yeah, everyone's agreed.
Just sort of surprised I could make a decision based on that, but.
You know, there was a brochure at some point. I didn't have the hard copy, so it's just, literally, honestly, Ken, it's
No, I can see it.
It's 5 things, that's it.
It's 2 on the top and then 1 on the bottom, right?
Yeah, it's really simple.
Fine.
And it's black.
And it's how high?
I think it's 5 feet.
5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's aluminum, it's light, so if it never does open it, you know, the police officer could drive right through it if they had to.
Right,
You know,
right.
It's not, you know, it's
Good to
really,
know.
it's a hindrance more than anything else.
I wasn't aware that was too small for a fire truck.
They can't turn around, because there's another set of pillars when you get further in. They can't make that left. They have to come straight down from
That
that
makes
way.
sense,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, anybody
Google
else?
drove in.
It's exactly, they trespass too.
Ladies, anything else? Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay. And we get, back to our historic district overlay demo situation. For the information of the, before Mr. O'Reilly makes his presentation, I just wanted to mention that several meeting, conferences have gone on between the building department, the board of trustees, as well as the village administration, and frankly, we've come to the conclusion, based on the legislation, that the demo, while we understand the intent of the legislation, the demo legislation, in fact, really wasn't designed to protect the village from this type of construction. In fact, with very few exceptions in the way the demo in the historic district is written, it really doesn't apply. I was able to. There was also another issue that I had asked the village's legal representation to clarify, and it was section letter E. And letter E speaks to replacement plan. It appears to be a catch-22, because what the replacement plan says is the ARB may not approve demolition until a proposal to replace the building to be demolished receives all required approvals from the planning board and the ARB. In the event that this applicant intends to maintain the site of the demolition building as open space, the ARB must approve of the landscape plan. So one of the things that I had a problem with, and it kind of infiltrated the other areas of in my mind at least, the demolition plan. It just didn't make sense that we're going to pass something that says we can't pass. So what the legal department, village's legal department came up with was a blurb that's going to go with the minutes should we decide to approve strictly the demolition part of this plan. It will read, the 130 Main Street application was referred to the ARB by the planning board pursuant to subsection 224-199 of the zoning code. Because the modification to the front of the building meets subsection 224-197's definition of demolition, Under the code, the ARB may approve or disapprove the demolition. Should it approve the demolition, its approval or disapproval under 9(6) of the village code is still required. And what that means is that we still have to review the plan on its merits after the demolition part of the application has been satisfied. And what will also be attached to the minutes of this particular application for tonight is the ARB hereby approves the demolition as required by 224199 so that the planning board may resume its site development plan review. Once the planning board grants approval, the applicant must return to the ARB for review under subsection 9-6 and 9-7. Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we now can take a dissertation by Mr. Riley about what changes have been made. However, unless there's questions from the board on this particular change, I would move to speak to the issue of demolition and allow it to go back to the planning board post haste to have them review as they would a normal application.
The only problem is that we don't actually have demolition drawings, so what are we approving?
The fact that they are not in violation of the historic district demolition criteria.
But that's fine, you still need a demolition set of drawings. The as-built conditions, what you're removing, dashed lines, like everyone does, to show what the demolition is, that's not here, right?
No.
No?
No. What we're saying is, if you read the entire demolition of buildings in the historic district, there's many different criteria that we want to make sure they're not in violation of. And I don't think any of them apply, frankly. I don't know, Deb may differ with that, but.
I do, but that's okay.
Well, actually.
I still don't know how you approve a demolition
Well,
without demolition drawings. I don't know what we're approving, we're just saying demolish whatever you want? I don't understand how.
No.
The problem
The
is,
drawings.
the problem is, it's really not a demolition. It is to
But
one
in any-
part
in
of the
any-
criteria of the code.
In any drawing set that is submitted for any approval by any town board, there is a full set of drawings that has as-built drawings, partial demolition drawings, proposed drawings. All we've ever seen are proposed drawings. We have no as-built of all the elevations. We have no as-built of all the floor plans. We have no, so I don't know how you can even say
You're only
yes to
approving the elevation to the street. That's the only part that
That applies to the code.
applies to the code.
but there's no drawing here
drawing
that's, there's
documenting
no
what that
drawing here
is.
that says this is what we've approved. Like, it doesn't, we do demo drawings that says remove this piece.
It's fine to approve it. It might be a formality at this point.
It
but
is, that's all it
There
is.
still has
Yeah.
to be a drawing.
So
This
that-
is
so that
professional
everybody-
practice. There has to be a drawing documenting what is being saved
But you
and what is
know
being
perfectly
removed.
well that the law really related to taking down the yellow house. That's what the demolition was all
Actually, it
about.
was designed for a house on Astor
It
Street.
was designed for that,
We're not going to
not,
get into that.
and one line put in, buildings in the historic district have to be approved, the demolition, which said any changes to the front of the Main Street thing is subject to the demolition law. That's what the,
Yeah, I get all that.
well, that's all.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean,
But-
there's nothing in there that says what I have to do for you other than to approve the front elevation.
It's more
where's
complicated
that
than that. I mean, in all
documented?
due respect, we don't need to get back and forth into the interpretation of the law because I think many of us know it very well. But we all recognize the position that you're in. The problem we have, the problem I specifically have, is that this type of renovation, this construction, is not a demolition as this law was drafted. The reason you're back here is you complied with some of the aspects of the law, but not all of them. And for me, which is a little different from where Andrew's coming from, is now we have before us to comply with Section 910. We have your application, we have the sign that you put out front. Tonight is supposed to qualify as the public hearing under Section C, but frankly, Section D, we can never, ever comply with, because in order for us to rule that this is a demolition, You have to prove Part D, Section 2, A through C.
Would you tell me what
can't
that
do it.
is, or I,
Sure. Criteria for approval. The Board of Architectural Review shall not approve the application for demolition unless the applicant establishes all of the following. And this is what it says. For buildings sought to be demolished for reasons other than safety, which is the case before us, you have to prove to us the following three things. A, the property is incapable of earning a reasonable return on investment, regardless of whether that return represents the most profitable return. B, the property cannot be adapted for any other use, whether by the current owner or by a purchaser that would result
Okay,
in
you
a
don't have to
reasonable
read
return.
anymore.
And C, good faith efforts to find a purchaser interested in acquiring the property and preserving it have failed.
now, could you
Can't do
please
it.
answer a question for me?
Sure.
Are you telling me that that statement is specifically applies to somebody who wants to come in here and take it?
Yeah.
It doesn't?
It applies to someone who wants to take the building down.
I
This is
don't
not
want to
that
take
case.
the building down.
Exactly, so we're in agreement is what I'm saying. So for purposes of tonight, if what you're looking for, or what you've been sent to us, is for us to declare that this is a demolition, you have
I
to
don't,
comply.
I just want to get to the
Exactly.
planning board.
Exactly. So Andrew's looking obviously for what we also want, which are drawings. I'm looking for compliance with Section D. We're not going to get either. So I put it back to our chair. How do you want to rule tonight? Because he can't, and we can't rule under the law the way it's
Answer,
drafted.
help me
No, no, let me-
describe
hold
those
on.
four things,
It's
please.
not going to happen. I'm just saying, you can't do it. So I just want to make it clear on the record that you can't do it. That doesn't mean you're not going to go
Okay.
away with what you
Gotcha.
want, okay?
Yep.
So Section D, for this particular applicant, we can't find that you have met all of those because it's not appropriate for you to meet because it's not a true demolition. So I think we can rule tonight what you're looking for, but we can't say that you're in compliance with Section 9 of that.
I'm sorry, say,
I said, we can
Well-
rule, if you're here specifically, and Rick has our charge, that we're supposed to rule this is a demolition. I just want to make it clear on the record that the applicant has not complied with Section 9 as
Okay.
it's drafted. Does that make sense?
I hear it.
Well, at this point, we don't have demolition drawings to satisfy, one of the members' requests.
Excuse me. Didn't you just say it's not a demolition?
It had, yes, but if we.
I know, but you're asking for drawings for a
I'm not asking
demolition,
for it.
but we're all agreeing that it's not a demolition.
Yeah,
And
so,
I don't want to be here in June with the same argument. I just want to move ahead. I'll do whatever the hell you want with the front of the building, but I gotta move along. It's
No, but the
been
problem is-
5 months.
I understand, but the problem is this is not,
No,
this
the
is not
problem
an
is, the problem is
application
the
of
drawing's
drawings.
written like crap.
Totally.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not the guy that wrote it. And I'm stuck with this house.
And so are we.
I agree.
We're
I
stuck
know,
with the
I
law.
know, I know. But
I agree, totally agree, and I don't think anybody on the board disagrees with the fact that this law is not written the way it should have been written.
so I think.
But it doesn't apply, and yet they're making,
you know,
the board of trustees.
but I'm the
making
guy
it
paying
apply.
all the bills, and I'm the guy with the time, I'm the guy with the family up there that wants to just move back into the building. That's all I want to do.
We do have.
What do you want from me?
Well,
I mean, I've already blown through the architect's budget, well over the architect's budget, and I don't even have drawings yet.
In all due respect, we recognized at the last meeting, we've made a lot of progress with this design so that when you do seek the final approval from the ARB, you know that you're further along than you were. That's what we understood was the reason you were before us. Tonight, we're being asked to approve demolition. That's the specific
Yes.
charge before us.
Did the village attorney come up with a solution that would satisfy your problem and?
well, I don't think your problem was addressed.
It wasn't, but as long as it's been noted that you haven't satisfied it, and frankly, I don't want another applicant coming before us with the same problem, that's just
I would
gonna be what it is.
imagine if somebody came on to take the yellow house down, I would want them to do all of those things in that outline.
Can I ask a question though? I was at the last meeting. We approved the demolition and you guys go back to the planning board. By us doing that, are we committing
No.
and stating that this design is generally approvable?
No,
Yeah.
this is,
That's what we're gonna say tonight.
what this,
But that's,
the last
see,
line.
that's, doesn't do you any good though.
No, he's still gotta go to planning board and come back.
I
It
understand,
does,
but you
it
go to
does
the
because
planning
I
board.
can't do anything
I
without you
understand, but
approving.
you go to the planning board, you will spend more months and more thousands of dollars in their engineering back and forth to only have to then come back to us, that if we say, you need to cheat this wall in another foot for whatever reason, then you have to go back to the planning board again and go through their stuff
You're arguing,
all over
you're arguing
again.
the process.
But I can't even go to the
Process that
planning
you know
board.
doesn't work.
And
Unfortunately.
I'm just trying to save you money, time and money.
No.
They can't go in front of the planning board until you approve the demolition, which we all know is a bunch of crap. I'm not
Right.
demolishing the building.
Right.
Well, look, the alternative is we simply approve the demolition portion of the historic district overlay requirements, and then set in motion back to the planning board, and then ultimately back to us. So we're not approving anything as far as design is concerned tonight. We're simply approving whether or not,
Right, I suggest that you continue to go in tandem, even if the town doesn't allow it, speak with people, so you can be at the ARB and the planning board at the same time, to save you time and
well,
money going
this
back and forth.
is what I was going to propose tonight. If in fact, and we would have to let Mr. Riley make his presentation to see if there's anything that's changed, but what we were talking about doing was listening to Mr. Riley to find out what Mr. Fitzgerald's changes were, or where we stand at this point. If there's anything in the design that we think the planning board should look at, I would articulate those requests or those issues to the planning board before he ever gets in front of the planning board again. But that's, once again, that's up to them to make the changes if they so desire. So when it comes back to us, we're already well ahead of the game. That was something that the planning board and the frankly the village administrator had said that we should probably do it. So it can be a simultaneous or somewhat a simultaneous approval. Here's the alternative. We do not approve the historic district regulations, and now they have to go in front of the board of trustees and articulate to them and let them decide how they should go forward on this.
So basically, you have the two choices that are here tonight is we either approve demolition or we disapprove demolition.
correct.
If we approve demolition, then we're saying you meet the requirements of section 910, and then you go to the planning board. If we disapprove, that means that you have to appeal to the board of trustees. And what we're trying to say tonight, I think all of us is, we want to work with you. And
Sure.
But we are just stating for the record that technically this property cannot be a demolition as the law is written. But that doesn't mean you can't walk
The
away.
village attorney isn't saying that, but that's okay.
She
I
doesn't
realize-
articulate to us anything one way or the other.
Look, I'll articulate it. Everybody's saying the same thing. Half the definition is saying it's a demolition, and the other half is saying it's not.
No,
Is that-
no, that's not true. It is a demolition because, and again, I'm sorry to keep going back to this, but you gotta remember, this law's only been around for 1 year, and you're the
And
first
I'm the
case
guinea
before us.
pig, and
You're
I'm
the
paying
first
the
one.
bill. I
It
got
is a demolition because to demolish under the code means to pull down, raise, destroy, remove, or
Correct.
relocate a substantial portion of the building.
Read the first
It
statement.
doesn't
Wait, a
No, no, no,
substantial
no.
portion of the building. Substantial portion of the building, just bear with me, a substantial portion of the building is defined. That substantial portion means any exterior wall, porch, or portico facing a public way, or 50% or more of the footprint of a building as measured in the plan, or 50% or more of the exterior walls of a building.
Okay.
You're before us because the village attorney has found that this constitutes substantial portion, and it is. We know it is, because that's what we spent the last 2 meetings looking at.
No. It relates to the front elevation, not to the, you're talking about the, oh, guys.
Part of it.
Huh?
Either way, it doesn't matter. What we're
Doesn't
trying to
matter.
say is that's why you're here. It constitutes a demolition because of the substantial portion definition.
Right?
Wait,
But
wait.
the other half said that it's not.
Please
demolition.
read the first statement before it gets to the or, the 50%, please, for the record.
To demolish, again,
Yeah,
means to
the
pull
first-
down,
it's 5 words.
comma, raise, comma, destroy, comma, remove, or relocate all or a substantial portion of a building. Then you have to go look at the definition of substantial portion of a building. That's what it means. You are here because
Are you
it's a
suggesting we are
substantial
demolishing a major portion of the building?
portion. That's not the language.
We are not.
Demolition drawings, we would see.
No. Wait a minute. They are not talking, there is nothing in the law, our attorney verified this, that stops adding. We're not demolishing anything, we're adding. The only thing we're changing is portions of the front building, front
Then
elevation.
we'll wait and we'll continue until you give us a real set of demolition drawings.
No, I'm not gonna give a set of
Because I
demolition
promise
drawings.
you
Look,
that
vote
when
no
you
and
do
you let the
that,
trustees.
It will show us that you're
No.
demolishing 50% of the
But Mr.
building.
Riley-
You mean to tell me you, you're kidding me now, right?
No, no.
No, I'm
You
not
can't,
kidding you at all.
your only charge is the front of the building. You better read the law.
No, but this is the point. This is not our job. The definition of whether it's wait, Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
please
No,
hear
I'm
me out.
not. I'm listening to you.
Substantial, whether this is a demolition or not is not before the ARB. That was already determined. It's coming to us for approval or disapproval. The engineer
Okay,
and the village have already said that you have met the definition of substantial portion of
Okay.
50%. We know.
No, they
Yes.
did not say that
We're
to
not
us.
looking, yes, they did.
They did to us.
They did. You even read us a letter that where the engineer said that. So the only thing that's before us is
Oh,
we're
I'm not,
Look, we're all in agreement this is not a good test case for this law.
yeah,
It isn't.
it's terrible.
Okay.
Because our chairman said at the end of last meeting that the whole list of things that you'd have to do to prove had nothing to do with our
Can I
project.
ask one quick question? Are you gonna vote on the demolition?
One way
Yes or
another.
no?
One way or another.
Yeah.
Okay, can we just take that vote and then discuss the changes, or is that not possible?
It's actually the other way, well, that's, I'm sorry.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, once the vote is taken, it's a moot point because it has to go back to the trustees, the board of trustees.
If you vote
So you're
no.
voting
If I
no?
vote, if I vote no.
Okay,
If
that's
you
fine.
vote no.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, does anybody have a thought? Do you have anything you want to show them tonight?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, if we're if we're talking about the architecture, and that doesn't mean anything to them now, why, I mean, I'm happy to,
This will ultimately come back to us.
I think what we're offering
Should
is
you-
the
should you-
opportunity to continue the discussion, which we started, move this thing on to whatever we have to move on to. and
okay,
work
you
our way
realize
up.
that's
Hey,
a
Bob.
whole new
Bob,
system.
not to interrupt.
Yeah.
Why don't you show them the changes that you made,
Okay.
so they can say yay or nay to the changes, they can vote.
Well, we won't
No,
be
they're
voting
not
on
gonna
that.
No, I know you're not voting on that, but you'll make an informal suggestion of other changes.
Perhaps,
Here's
right.
what's
And then
different in this
perhaps
whole
you'll vote,
procedure.
And then we'll be gone.
You are leaving yourselves the possibility that you can completely change my architectural windows, plans, and anything.
But that's not what we're.
That's not a formal application for design at this
Yeah.
point. You've only been giving us that as a courtesy to get the demolition.
No,
That's why
I
it's not a
wasn't
full set of
doing that.
drawings.
Huh?
That's why it's not a full application at this point.
Because they're not demolition drawings?
No,
You know-
it's not.
No. Well, then
Well,
what's,
where's the materials? This is not a normal full application. It's something you should for practical
Because it's
skills.
not, because it's an
Because it's
It's not a
informal,
real
It's an
application.
informal.
it's
That's
an
what I'm saying.
informal about.
Well, you can't present.
You can't go to
because
the
we
plan-
can't Go to the planning board.
I understand.
hey, we know the normal procedure is you don't see anything until the 11th hour after all
Wait,
of
we said to do
the
it
working
first.
drawings were done. That's when you see it.
I understand that.
Well, the difference is they stuck in that, because it's in the historic district, the plans have to be approved by you before we can go move ahead.
When it's a true demolition, that is the truth. That's why
I thought that all along, and that puts then the responsibility for approving the architectural front elevation before you can approve it. Before I can go back to the planning board.
And you're gonna go back to the planning board, should you
Yep.
approve the demolition with this exact design. And you're gonna go through that entire process with this design, correct?
Correct.
And you're gonna come back to us with this exact design, and you will have spent months and thousands of dollars at the planning board, which then suggests that we need to rubber stamp that approval for you to move on.
That's the
correct?
only way the law is written.
So what I'm telling you is, it would be in your best interest
Yes?
to make your preliminary architectural review as complete as it can possibly be.
Absolutely. Of course.
And that's all I'll say.
And
there are
I'm
reasons-
happy to come back and work with you guys. I mean, first of all, I thought our relationship has been fine. I've enjoyed your comments, and it's a better building as a result of this, of our discussion.
client wants to move on with the whole thing, so.
No, I'm tired of the whole thing.
Well,
I just want you
tell
to,
me.
I just want everybody to see the latest, make their comments, get a vote, yes or no, and leave. That's all I want to do. I am so tired of this thing.
Yep.
I'd rather pay a lawyer at this point than an architect. I hate to say it. But this law is totally unfair to me.
Correct.
And this is really getting asinine. I mean, we're 2 days short of 4 months in front of you guys. And then add another few months on that before that. I mean, this is going to take a year to get a friggin' this is not complicated. I'm not an architect, but I don't see it. I mean, I watched this old house. Looks like it goes up pretty quick to me. I'm tired of paying money and going nowhere. Then I go in front of you guys, so you understand. I go in front of the planning board, they understand. I go in front of the trustees, they understand. But I'm still the guy that gets screwed. And I'm just trying to move back into the house. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm surrounded by an apartment building that's a piece of crap. The other side is a house that hasn't had paint in 40 years. And I want to live in this house. I like the town, but I don't know. I don't want to say anymore because I'll just start cursing. And then my mother will yell at me. Go ahead.
All right. Do we want to take a vote now, or do you want to listen to the architectural changes and issues?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a vote on the issue of demolition. Do I have a motion to?
Well, before you,
Yeah.
can we approve the demolition with any caveats or any explanatory language that basically says that this particular application doesn't meet section 9, but we're allowing him to proceed to the planning board? Is there, because I didn't have a conversation with the building inspector nor the village lawyer, is there any room for something like that?
I don't know how, I mean, if we do conditionally approve it, I think the conditions have to go to the village attorney to see if they're applicable.
So isn't that worth trying?
Certainly is. If you think there's enough votes for a yay vote at this point, I don't have a problem with it.
Isn't that what you read at the beginning?
What's that?
Isn't that what you read at the beginning?
Well, what I read was,
Not really. I mean, what was read at the beginning is more how we got here in terms of what the definition of demolition is and why it applies in this case. What I'm suggesting is, can we specifically make a motion that says, for example, that we approve demolition as required in order to allow the applicant to proceed to the planning board, but then we put conditions attached to it? I don't know. I mean, they're allowed to do that, then I would do
Because
it.
they've got to come back to the ARB anyway, they have to get through the planning board, so what's the point of putting conditions on it?
Just because if you disapprove demolition, then he has to formally appeal to the Board of Trustees.
Oh, if we vote disapproval, but.
Yeah, there's only two options, approve or disapprove. So we can approve, so that you don't have to go to the Board of Trustees, but then we would make a few conditions to that approval.
Have you made any changes since the last time they made comments?
architectural changes.
Well, you was here with the model the last time, you were not there.
You changed the dormer on the second floor, and you pulled out the front
Right.
porch.
But again, just remember, we're not approving the design.
I know you're not
Okay.
approving it, but you can also say this is stupid, we do this. You're also saying this is informal, you can make suggestions.
To the planning board.
So, and I agree with you, you'll save me thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours. I just want your input on those drawings at this point, because as far as I'm concerned, I hope those are the last drawings. I'm praying that those are the last drawings.
Mr. Elliott, can we see the model again?
Sure.
Just because I don't know if Andrew
Sure.
saw it. Thank you.
I know,
Has the model hasn't been changed? The
It has
dorm-
been changed.
The dormers were changed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not the bay window not the bay window.
this bay window.
Yeah, you change it on the plans, though.
I did, and I have a drawing for that. Yeah, I did.
No, it's okay, it's okay, it's just,
Bob,
Hello.
could I see the side of the house where your right hand is?
Here?
Yeah, just turn it to me.
That's good.
That's totally changed.
Yeah.
from that model.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's not the house. That's two times ago. And then I have another 4 miles of my house if you want to see those too. That's not the house.
That's here, but that's not here.
We made changes based on
Let me
our
tell you why.
informal conversations in the past.
Last week, too. The last time.
So look at the plans, not the model.
I would.
Middle of December, the client left. She's not there. So now the apartment is open.
The tenant.
The tenant.
On the client.
I'm sorry. So we had complete access to
Turn the other side. That side.
this side.
That's the side going to the house next to us.
To the right. That's the west side. Oh, the east.
That's the west side.
West side.
So the changes, want to know the changes?
Sure.
Okay.
Here's that side.
After getting in there, we realized that there's a very clear picture of what conditions exist upon that second floor. There's no windows into this bedroom, which is up here now. And that's why they have the,
You have the window on the south side, on the,
so we actually, there wasn't any window at all into the bedroom, here. We thought we were gonna get it through skylights, but then that didn't work. So the dormers that are there, we obviously expanded the dormers, and we have light coming in. So instead of having all of this construction, when all I need is enough to get the fireplace outside and the ductwork up to the roof and light into the dormers, there's 2 dormers there now, with a dead space in between, and we're taking rid of the dead space and making the window 10 feet of window in the master bedroom and 6 feet in the bathroom. The next reason for changing that is part of the regulation of what drainage you need is a calculation on existing roof and new roof, which is ridiculous, but that's what I believe is, I haven't had a discussion with Ed, but this would all be considered new roof. And I could end up with 2 or 3 multi-thousand-gallon retaining in the front. So I wanted to make it as much existing roof as I could, which then doesn't count for the requirement. Except for this, and 3 feet over here, that's the only new construction we're doing, sorry, adding on to the deck. In fact, we reduced the deck from 11 to 9.
We're adding a whole second story on the side there. I don't know what you're talking about. Again, until I have as-built drawings with
But you
overlay
gotta,
of new construction.
you've seen the section 100 times, what do you want? Well,
This is not a.
how about,
this is
let's
not-
look at the section and decide, can we do that?
Listen, we can't.
No,
This is not a set of
you
drawings
must.
that conveys what the scope of the project is clearly.
Oh, no, no, now, you must be talking about a hospital or something. If you've ever worked with residential, they're dimensions away from a building permit. Now, if you don't understand that, we're wasting our time.
We're totally wasting our time then.
Then do what you
This
wanna
is
do.
not- There's no existing elevations in here.
Who cares about the existing elevations? What do you want that for? Look at the section. You understand we're keeping the section, that we're not changing the roof at all on the existing building? Look,
What?
all of this dark is existing.
Understood. So you're adding a second floor on the one story.
Right there.
Right.
Right, and renovating the existing to get dormers in, to get light into the bedrooms.
Understood.
And what else? We're keeping the existing stair. It turned out that,
And how are we supposed to know you're keeping the existing stair?
because
based on
it's
these
in there,
drawings?
but you're not involved in the inside.
No, but you told me you're keeping, I just can't, I don't know what you're keeping or not keeping based
What do
on
you
the way
mean? Look
this
at the
is drawn.
plan.
How do I know what's new and what's existing in this drawing? Tell me. Tell me how I can tell that that's existing and that's new.
Well, because the
That's
first
new.
thing I gave you was listed, and you weren't
Tell me in
here.
this drawing how I can tell that.
Well, I don't have to change that, I gave you drawings before. that outlined all is existing. You know perfectly well, that's existing right there, and this is brand new, and on the first floor,
And by the way, I don't know that, so
well, you haven't been listening then.
your drawings aren't clear. That's what it is.
No, you're not, you're talking about a hospital, come on. Do you,
Tell me what's existing and what's new here.
there's the existing stair, the rest is going to be
Perimeter walls, what's existing and what's new on this drawing?
all existing.
Where? Where?
You didn't see it, because I gave it to you
Where, is this all
meeting
existing
before.
or is this new?
Oh, you're kidding me.
I'm asking you.
How
is
can
this
you,
new?
this is all, can I borrow your pen?
Sure. So, oh,
All right, then I won't do that.
no, it's
Oh,
okay.
no,
Is
no,
the
yeah,
existing
okay,
line here or is this the existing line there?
I'm just saying, watch out for the ink.
I'm sorry?
Andrew, what are you saying, that there's no
I
key on, there's
don't
no
know
key on the
what's
drawing?
new and what's existing on this drawing.
But you've been looking at it for,
And it's never been clear.
well
Is
then,
this the existing line or is that the existing line?
You ready?
Over here,
are you ready?
yeah.
First floor. That's the one story, right there.
No, just draw on the perimeter what's existing.
First floor,
Okay.
existing.
Is this all existing?
Ready? Just that much is existing. And this is new. This horseshoe here is all new.
And how about here?
And this is new, and the portion out there, because that roof is shorter. And obviously that's existing. We had the stair in the back. The minute we went upstairs and we were moving the wall 6 inches, we didn't need to.
Okay. I mean, we're talking in circle. We can.
Any other comments? Go ahead. Good. Anybody else have any comments?
I would tell you, if this was an application for us to approve the design in front of us, I would not approve it because of this side elevation, the east elevate, the west elevation.
Okay.
The west elevation, I would.
Why?
The west.
I think it's roof gymnastics. It's not anything that relates to a scale of additive massing on a building at all. It goes from this to a flat to a forward, back,
Yep,
like it's
yep,
not,
yep.
it's just.
And
to
what
get
about the
interior
building next
space.
door? And you look at the east.
I don't have anything to do with the building next door. This is the application in front of us.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, if this was a formal application, I'm telling you, I would not approve that. The rest of it,
Well,
for me,
then
generally,
I think we better
is-
get going.
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
He doesn't like the east elevation.
I know, but I'm
I'm just
sorry.
telling you, it's roofing gymnastics to get.
East or
interior-
west?
I think it's the one that faces west.
That's
Oh, the west elevation, I'm sorry, correct.
Okay, so you want a straight line across?
I'm not.
I don't know
I'm designing it for you.
gymnastics,
I'm
what do
just
you
telling you, there's roof pitches, when you just look at the model, that are happening, that are creating false conditions for a perceived aesthetic on one side, and then just bearing it on
Do you have
another.
any idea where this elevation, how far it is from the neighbor, and this one is 60 feet away?
I'm just telling you though, it's not an attractive elevation, and I don't think it actually represents the spirit of additive massing on the house that you've done on the other sides. And I'm simply telling you that I don't think it's something that that would get my vote. That's all I'm telling you. You
Okay.
asked for opinion to gauge so you can
Okay.
make decisions to move forward. I think the rest of the building generally looks kind of nice and interesting. That side, I think, is odd. What's going on there? So that's my
Well,
opinion.
do you know what's existing and what's new there?
Well, you just drew it in green.
No, I know, but I mean,
so
That's
have a
existing
better
face
picture.
right there, that's all existing.
Yeah, underneath it's set back.
Right.
So you dropped a box on top of it.
So, I added the square footage that I needed to fulfill my program.
Understood. Understood. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else have any comments of the architectural aspect of the building itself?
There's a problem here. Because all of a sudden, we're moving on where we're going to the planning board. They're going to be looking at this. They're going to be examining this in terms of coverage. And you're saying, all of a sudden, I'm going to appear back here where this whole thing opens up again.
That's what I just said 20 minutes ago.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that's part of the law. So I think we better find out about that.
No, that's the problem, that is the law. If we approve the
Where
demolition
does it
tonight,
say that?
it says it because you're not supposed to be before us until the plans are.
Oh,
This is
come
what-
on, you're kidding me. I mean,
I-
that's one of the, okay.
If you're looking
I think
for-
we respectfully disagree with you,
Yeah.
and respectfully disagree with everybody. Everybody's disagreeing, and that's the problem with the law. And I don't want to argue anymore.
I agree.
What do you want on that west side?
He does
Just,
not-
look, I hate to say it, I'm not an architect. Tell me in plain terms what you're looking for.
I think it's an ugly elevation.
Okay,
that
that's
doesn't
fine.
blend with the rest of the house that's been designed.
Well,
So
it's
you
11
you
feet
want
away
a
from the
straight
neighbor.
line, or you want the dormers, or what do you want?
I can't design it for.
I know you can't, but
it's
what
not-
would you like to see, because we'll
I'd
design.
like to see something more consistent with the rest.
With
of
the other
house.
side?
Yes,
Okay, I got it.
that's it. It doesn't look like the rest.
And
of
that's
the
the
house.
rest of it, that's your big concern? Okay.
I had a concern about the porch, but I think that.
The porch isn't gonna get smaller, is it, Ken?
I'm just asking the question.
Okay.
We
I
went
asked the
from
question
11
last
feet
time.
to 9.
You did?
Yeah.
Actually, we went from 15 to
Yeah, on the
11
original
to 9.
submission to this.
And I don't want it smaller than that.
What is the porch now?
It's 5.5.
To the railing, it's about 6 feet to the end of the railings, or whatever you call that, the slots, the floor.
Okay. That's fine.
But the one other thing is, I was reading about, once again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an architect, but whatever this thing is, the National Register of Historic Places, 130 Main Street, if I could summarize this paragraph, whoever wrote this, I don't know who wrote it, but basically he said, this is really not a historic building anymore, because the other renovation that we did wrecked the character of it. So why is this still a historic building when it's not even the original building?
It's a building in the historic district.
It's a contributing.
Okay, well, it's not,
And
it's,
I
you know,
I
the
would say the
first,
comments that are being made about the design would be
Accept
discussed regardless of this building
Okay,
being historic.
okay, well, that's
These
why I'm
comments
not an
are
architect,
at
that's
all
fine.
based on the fact that this is an historic building. They're simply based on an addition being done to any structure that's a gable facing
I got you,
structure.
well,
Like
Can I
that's-
answer
yeah,
the question though?
and not that, I agree with what you're saying, but what you're talking about is on the side of the building, and look, I don't care, I wanna get this approved and move on with my life. But it's not facing Main Street, nobody's even gonna see it, but that's fine, I got
Honestly,
it.
but I actually do this for a living too, and I refuse to give up on the design of something just because people can't see it from the
That's
street.
fine.
That's
No,
not a
we're-
good design.
Okay.
I didn't draw that because I'm dissatisfied with it.
Well, everybody said, who cares, it doesn't face, nobody
No,
sees
I
it.
didn't say that.
I said it.
I said there's a difference between that elevation, this elevation you can see from the parking space on the other side of River City. You see that
Consider that
elevation.
elevation as if it can be seen from Main Street.
One last question.
only-
You like east facing
See,
elevation,
you missed the
right?
model. I have a model that has the neighbor's house, which is 50 feet higher than this.
And,
There's 2 trees in here, and there's the neighbor, right there.
yeah.
I have the model. I mean, I
Okay.
just didn't bring it with me.
I have a question.
Yes.
The east facing facade.
No, this is the west.
No, I'm asking you. The east
Yeah.
facing facade you like,
I don't have an issue with that, the way it's drawn. right
okay? If that's mimicked on the west side,
now. It's not gonna be possible, you're not gonna get the head over your bedrooms there.
oh, if we put those dormers
Two
in.
bedrooms right there. Yeah, well, you guys will figure that out. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
You've got this, you're trying to get this roof shed on the front face to lower that eave line down to the dormer, which
Yes.
is something we talked about a few months ago.
Sure, correct.
And now you're just flattening it out, going all the way back.
No,
So in order to get the headroom that you require, you're gonna have some roofing gymnastics like you already have. It's not gonna be that easy to work out to get the 2 bedrooms that you want. That's what I see it. So,
Well, then I'm screwed again.
No.
No, I am, because I have to have.
May I
four
ask him a question, please?
bedrooms. Yes.
If we were in the normal procedure, and I went to the planning board, they approved all of the FARs and everything, then they approved the coverage, and I come back to you. Are you prepared? Would you think you would go and rework the thing? You don't like this? Another 4 meetings? When we're 11 minutes away from breaking? I did all the working drawings to get to the planning board. To get,
That's why we want to hear what it is you propose now, so we can send our opinions to the
Okay.
planning board. So
well, obviously,
they can accept them or not.
can we decide that your real see, because he's saying his responsibility is all sides of this.
It certainly is. If they're being renovated or changed, yeah.
Okay? But that comes after I do all the working drawings, and I come back to him, and we are ready for a building permit. Now, if you want to work it that way.
Once again, we're getting back to the whole process. The process stinks, but it is the process we have to.
What stinks is the old procedure. I think it's much better if we get in front of you. In fact, I think any project would be better if they came to the architecture board instead of 5 minutes before I do construction.
Correct.
But the law doesn't allow that.
We all agree.
Well, but the law doesn't say that.
No, well, we don't make the law, unfortunately. We just have to abide by it.
But I am not going to be part of an answer that I come back and I'm worked over for another 4 meetings when I'm ready to have a building permit issued. So that's something you've got to put in the meeting, in the minutes. That wouldn't work. If that gentleman would like to meet with me and I'll review,
It's not what we do.
okay, well, I'm only saying, if you want to come up with an answer on parts that you're not happy with, you can't believe how little.
All you gotta do is propose it on
All right. Any other?
My only last comment is this, is that what I understood you were before us the last few meetings was really to satisfy one of the provisions of the demolition clause, which is a description of the proposed replacement project in sufficient detail to permit the ARB to visualize the proposed replacement. That is what you've been doing up until this point.
That's not written in there, though. That's what you think.
No, that's section B10. That's what you've been doing, in my opinion, up until this point.
Okay.
Okay? And that I think you've satisfied the application in full because of these drawings. Tonight has satisfied the public hearing portion.
Well, we haven't finally.
No.
Yeah, and then I think section D is the only section left that we would have to say that the applicant is not able to satisfy it. And then E is the part where it noted that that he's going to the planning board and then coming back to us. So I think we can say that we satisfied section 9 as long as we say D is impossible to satisfy because this is not a true demolition.
So what you're saying is, if we were to approve it, it would be pursuant to the understanding that section D has not been satisfied.
And therefore, he has to go to planning board and then he comes back to us.
Which is the process anyway, but
Yeah.
it's more of a direct articulation of what it is that has to happen. Gail, anything?
Can we make a recommendation on D if it's impossible to comply? I mean,
Well,
As
we
part
can't
of
make a
this, can we make a
recommendation on the
note?
form, but we can recommend on a side note to the lawyers.
Yeah. That he's satisfied, accepted.
But they're already aware of it, I'm sure.
okay.
Okay. Any other architectural questions before we get into going back to the?
But the only thing I'm not clear on is when Mr. Riley and his client come back to us after the planning board, what are the drawings called? They're not demolition drawings as Andrew's looking for, right?
Oh, they're
They're
architectural drawings for construction.
For the formal application to approve. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. So to fulfill the public hearing, I would ask, now that the board has made their comments, are there any comments from the public? Okay. All righty, so we will, at this point, close the public hearing, and do I have a formal motion to approve the demolition as we understand it, in the form that it is, with the exception of, and this will have to be articulated in our approval if in fact it does get approved, that we understand that Section D has not been satisfied of the demolition of buildings of the Historic Overlay District. Do I have a motion to approve subsequent to the addition of that agreement?
Yes.
Anybody, second?
Second, with the condition that he's coming back with drawings after the planning board, yes.
That's understood. I mean, this, what I read earlier, this will be part of the minutes. That this will, and I will read it again for the record. The 130 Main Street application was referred to the ARB by the planning board pursuant to subsection 224199 of the zoning code. Because the modifications to the front of the building meet 224197's definition of demolition under the code, the ARB may approve or disapprove the demolition. Should it approve the demolition, its approval under 9.6 of the village code is still required, which says it has to come back to us. The ARB hereby approves the demolition as required by 224199 so that the planning board may resume its site development plan review. Once the planning board grants approval, the applicant must return to the ARB for review under subsections 9.6 and 9.7. That will be attached, should the motion be approved, that will be attached as part of the minutes. So it's a full understanding of where we stand, where the village stands, and where the next process or the next step. Once again, do I have a second based on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, so the demolition will be approved with the concerns of from the architecture report to the planning board, and with special note that Section D, criteria for approval, in the ARB's opinion, has not been met. But if the Board of Trustees is willing to accept that as, you know.
We'll get a copy of that?
Yes.
I mean, when it's all ready?
Yes. It will go to the Board of Trustees, and they will copy you.
So I can tell the building department that I can now prepare the documents to go to the...
My minutes will show on that, so
Okay.
you can speak to him probably later tomorrow or the next day, and get the process formally moving towards the planning board.
Good.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Could I ask one quick question? The ARB, when the review comes, if one of you turns it down, is it turned down?
No.
You just
You
need,
need a majority of the people that are
do
sitting.
you vote?
Of course I vote.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Everybody has one vote. But I don't have to have 5 people here. If there's only 3 people here, and a majority of those 3 people approve the application, it's approved.
Can we kidnap?
Send on a vacation, perhaps?
Are you a golfer?
It's cheap.
I'm gonna be away a lot in the next few
Yeah.
months, so.
All right.
Voluntarily.
Do I have any other? You have any other?
One thing you said afterwards.
Please let us go.
Yeah, well,
That's it.
yeah, no, that's it. If there's anything else, I'll send an email out.
Solar thing is done,
Well,
Is it done, or?
no, it's not done.
Okay, good.
Just off the record, well, I'll just off the record.
Well, hold on. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I still move.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead.